All right, guys, good morning. We are going to be working on our morning meeting. We're going to be reading the Astronaut Handbook. And then on your own, you will do teamwork to the top. We'll be reviewing your CRC questions as well as your turn. And then you guys will be doing your 5 things asynchronously. Make sure you take your practice spelling, vocabulary, grammar, mechanics, and selfie writing if you have not done your selfie writing yet. If you need a reminder on how to do your 5 things, you can watch the YouTube video from Monday. After that, we're going to do PE. After PE, we will be working on some multiplication review again so that we can be getting ready for 3rd grade. After that, you guys will have lunch. And then after lunch, you guys will be working on read theory and online resources, okay? If you have any missing work, you will need to return at 12 o'clock. So right now, the students I need to return at 12 o'clock, actually, I may need to update this, is Kendall, Dimitri, Joels, Jason, and Daniel. If I called your name, please make sure you guys return at 12 o'clock so I can check all your missing work. And then
Miss Park, do I have to come back at 12:45 or do I have to come back at 12 o'clock?
No, so if you have no missing work, you do not need to come back after lunch.
What?
Unless you have a question. Unless you have a question.
Hello, wait a minute. Wait. Is that last time? Right now it's gonna be break time. Well, now it's gonna be lunch break.
Yes, only students who need to complete missing work are going to come back after lunch. Everything else you guys are doing at the after lunch is going to be asynchronous. So you guys are going to work independently. So you're going to make sure you get your CRC done, make sure you get your turn done, make sure you get your 5 things done, and then make sure you also read any book you would like for 20 minutes. Set a timer online.
Hey, Miss Park?
Yes.
I have a question. I did read this Narwhal book that my auntie gave me, and it was about school, but the teacher was sick, a cold.
Well, I'm very glad you're reading a book. So yes, make sure you guys are reading every day for 20 minutes. All right, if you have your big book, go ahead and turn to the Astronaut Handbook, which is on page 536.
Read.
And let's go ahead and read this story.
Genre: Expository Text. Astronaut Handbook by Megan McCarthy. Essential question: why is teamwork important? Read about how teams of astronauts get ready to explore space. Welcome to Astronaut School. Soon you will be boarding a space shuttle and blasting into outer space. All different kinds of people have become astronauts. There have been teachers, painters, and even deep-sea divers. You can be an astronaut too. First, you need to decide what kind of astronaut you will be. There are astronauts who fly the space shuttles, astronauts who conduct scientific experiments, such as growing plants, and astronauts who repair satellites. Becoming an astronaut takes a lot of preparation. It's important to study hard in school. Studying isn't always easy, but stick with it. You will have to pass some tough fitness tests to become an astronaut, so suit up and start swimming. One test is to swim in your flight suit and sneakers. It's also important to be a team player. While in space, you'll be eating, sleeping, and working in very tight quarters with many other people. So be nice to your neighbor and no fighting. Now that you can work well with others, it's time for survival training. This training will help toughen you up and prepare you to live in harsh conditions. After you're both mentally and physically prepared, it's time for the real work to begin. Practice makes perfect. Those of you who have decided to become engineers will practice working with machines, much like the ones you'll use in space. Those of you who want to be a pilot of the space shuttle will need to learn how to fly. You've done the hard stuff, and now it's time to have some fun. A special plane nicknamed the Vomit Comet will take you high in the sky and then zoom back down. As a result, you'll be able to float. It might upset your stomach, but you'll get the hang of it. You'll also need to pick the food you'd like to eat while in space. It's important to have a balanced diet to stay strong during your trip. You can even have dessert, such as freeze-dried ice cream.
If you guys have never had freeze-dried ice cream, it looks like this.
This is what a space toilet looks like. Light. Instructions. Dry wipes. Thigh restraint. Thigh restraint. Vacuum for solids. Foothold, foothold. Hose for liquids. And here's what your spacesuit will look like. TV camera. Portable Life Support System Backpack, or PLSS, contains oxygen, battery, and water supply. Headlamp. Helmet and visor. Flexible metal bearings allowing arms to rotate. Hard upper torso, or HUT, made from fiberglass and steel. Display and control module. Spacesuit weighs 280 pounds on Earth. Glove. Lower torso assembly, or LTA, made from soft insulation, rubber. Boot. Spacesuit has 12 layers. The 7 inside layers protect astronauts from extreme temperatures. You'll wear this suit while working outside the space shuttle. It's white to reflect the rays of the sun. It will be fitted to your exact measurements. Over 100 measurements will be taken of your hand alone because they want to make sure that it's safe for you to wear in space. Finally, it's time to blast off. Put on your orange flight suit, worn for takeoffs and landings, and get ready to board the space shuttle. You will have to sit for as long as 3 hours before liftoff. Get ready for the ride of your life. 3, 2, 1, blast off. It's best to like small spaces. Work hard and enjoy your time in space.
All right, and then if you want to read about the author and the illustrator, you can read about Megan here. And then the next story, which you can also read on your own that you're going to be doing asynchronously, is Teamwork to the Top. All right, what we're going to do next is we are going to look at your CRC answers. Actually, maybe we'll even do them together. So go ahead and take out your CRC workbook. Go ahead and take out your CRC workbook. I do have access to it in Google Classroom. If you go to ELA, you can click CRC here. But remember, it doesn't save it if you do it online. So I recommend doing it in your actual book. You can also go here to read.
Read.
And then if you scroll right next to Astronaut Handbook, you'll find it there as well. Okay, now, how does and then also, if you guys don't finish this, if you go to Google Classroom and go to classwork, and you go to resource links, you'll see your CRC answers and your turn answers here. Okay, how does the author use words and illustrations to interact with the reader? Reread page 542 to 543. Talk about why the author used illustrations, not photographs of real astronauts. What do the illustrations look like? Think about the words the author uses. Who is the author talking to? Write 2 sentences about the author's style. So let's go to page 542 again to 543.
After you're both mentally and physically prepared, it's time for the real work to begin. Practice makes perfect. Those of you who have decided to become engineers will practice working with machines, much like the ones you'll use in space. Those of you who want to be a pilot of the space shuttle will need to learn how to fly.
Okay, so why do you think the author drew these pictures? So what are these pictures of? Can anyone tell me what do you see in these photos? Or not these photos, because they're not photographs, but they're drawings. What do you guys see in those two drawings? Sorry, let me take roll really quick.
The space shuttle.
Make sure you get to class on time. Daniel, we start at 8:40. Okay, you see the space shuttle. All right, what else do you see? What do you think he's working on? What kind of machine do you think this is? And it's okay to make an educated guess. Or what do you think he's doing with the machine? Do you think he's playing with it?
I don't know if he's playing with it.
Well, let's reread what it says.
After you're both mentally and physically prepared, it's time for the real work to begin. Practice makes perfect. Those of you who have decided to become engineers will practice working with machines, much like the ones you'll use in space.
Okay, so what is this guy doing?
He's working on the machine.
Very good. That's very similar to what you would work on in space. So what do you think engineers do? They work on machines and they probably repair them. What's another word for repair?
Take
Fix it.
yeah, fix it.
And that's important because imagine you guys go to space and you're trying to do something, but a machine is broken. You can't just call your mom and dad to help you. You have to have someone who's in space with you guys who can help fix that. Okay.
Yeah, so
Now-
you have to repair to fix.
Yeah. So think about the words the author uses. Who is the author talking to? Well, the author wants us to know, she wants us to know what it's like if we were to become astronauts. So the author is talking to us, or we could say you. The author is talking to you. The author is talking to you. And instead of using photographs of real astronauts, she draws these cute little pictures because they're fun. They're fun to see these little pictures. And if you look at the pictures of the kids kind of look, not the kids, the astronauts. The astronauts don't really look like grown-ups. They actually look like little kids, don't they? Like they look like little kids just like you. And it says even here, after you're both mentally and physically prepared, those of you who want to become a pilot. So the author wants us to know what it would be like if we were an astronaut. So the author interacts with the reader by making you feel like you're the astronaut. The author wants us to know what it would feel like if we were the astronaut. Oh, I just realized I'm doing this on Zoom, so I won't be able to move it. I'll put it in the chat. We're on page 180. Okay, number 2. or I guess not number 2, page 181. How do the illustrations and labels help you understand the text? Talk about how the author uses different ways to share information, such as diagrams. Fill in the chart with what you learned from pages 546 and 547. How did you learn the information? What I learned, how I learned it. The illustrations and labels on pages 546 and 547 help me understand because blank. So let's look at page 546 and 547.
This is what a space toilet looks like. Light. Instructions. Dry wipes. Thigh restraint. Thigh restraint. Vacuum for solids.
So thigh restraints, it's because in space you're floating. So when you want to use the restroom, you don't want to float off of the toilet and go everywhere. You want to make sure that you're going inside of the toilet. They also have to have a vacuum so that like your number 1 and your number 2 doesn't float everywhere. It's got to go into the little tube.
Foothold, foothold, hose for liquids.
All right.
And here's what your spacesuit will look like. TV camera. Portable Life Support System Backpack, or PLSS, contains oxygen, battery, and water supply. Headlamp. Helmet and visor. Flexible metal bearings allowing arms to rotate. Hard upper torso, or hut, made from fiberglass and steel. Display and control module. Spacesuit weighs 280 pounds on Earth. Glove. Lower torso assembly, or LTA, made from soft insulation, rubber. Boot. Spacesuit has 12 layers. The 7 inside layers protect astronauts from extreme temperatures. You'll wear this suit while working outside the space shuttle. It's white to reflect the rays of the sun. It will be fitted to your exact measurements. Over 100 measurements will be taken of your hand alone.
Okay, so talk about how the author uses different ways to share information, such as diagrams. So let's look at the labels that we saw here. So what is something that we learned? What is something we learned about the toilet? What's something you learned about the toilet? Okay, can anyone count? How many different labels do you see just for the toilet? How many labels do you see?
9.
There's 9 labels. So there's a lot of different parts for this toilet. If you guys go to our own toilets at home, there's just the toilet and then usually like a seat cover and then the little thing that you push down to make the water flush, right? So space toilets have lots of different parts. So let's write that, lots of parts. I wonder if I can just do that here. The author interacts with the reader by making you feel like you're okay. And then we learned that from the labels. So these are labels right here. It's not a paragraph. It's just telling us what each part looks like. So here's where the thigh restraints go. Here is instructions on how to use the toilet. Here's where the light this is what the light looks like. Okay, now what else? There are captions. So here are the captions. They're not necessarily just labels. Like this is a label: glove, boot, TV camera, headlamp. But these other ones are more than just labels, they're captions. They explain things about the spacesuit. Spacesuits weigh 280 pounds on Earth. So it's not just a label, it's a caption that gives us more information. So here, what's something that we learned about the spacesuit? That it weighs a lot. The suit is heavy. 280 pounds. I'm sure most of you guys can't lift 280 pounds. I don't even think I can lift 280 pounds. My big golden retriever dog, my bigger dog, she's like 50 pounds. So I would have to pick up, let's see, let's do some multiplication. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, and then 280 is about how much it weighs. So I'm going to add one more. That's like trying to hold up 6 of my big dogs. That's a lot of big dogs to hold up. That's very, very heavy. And these astronauts are wearing them. So that's something I learned from the caption. So we learned something from the labels, something from the caption. And then does anyone know what this is called? So these are labels. This is a caption. What is this called here? Where there's set words, they indented, there are sentences.
Paragraph.
A paragraph. Very good. I'll put it in the chat. Okay, so what is something that we learned in the paragraph? You'll wear this suit while working outside. It's white to reflect the rays of the what? Why is it white? To reflect what?
The rays of the sun.
Very good. So white
Like you put it the wrong way.
reflects
Paragraph.
what?
You put paragraph in how I learned it.
Yeah. So how did you learn that white means that it reflects the sun? Because that's how you learned it. You learned it by reading the paragraph. And that's important to reflect the sun so that you don't get super duper hot in the suit. Now, the illustrations and labels on page 546 and 547 help you understand because they share information in different ways. Okay, the illustrations show you how things look, the labels tell you where they are, the captions tell you what they do, and the paragraphs give you more information. So we can learn, helps me because they share information in different ways. Go ahead and write all of that down, guys. I'll give you guys a minute. We just went over page 550. The astronauts are squeezed inside of the small spaces inside of the spaceship. And then on page 551, why are the pages funny or fun? What do you notice? How do you think this astronaut here is feeling?
Happy
Yeah, and how do you know that he's feeling happy?
because he's in outer space.
Yeah, what else? What else maybe about the way that he looks? Would you know that he's happy?
He looks kind of funny.
Smiling. He's smiling. His hands are like out. His leg looks like he may have been like twirling or jumping. Work hard and enjoy your time and space. So he's smiling. The author grabs my attention with humor by writing that astronauts should like small spaces. And then they show the astronauts being squeezed together so tightly, and it's kind of funny. The author grabs my attention with humor by showing silly pictures. And they're silly because they're smiling. They're all squeezed up together, but they still like each other. And it looks like he's like dancing around in space. If you need more time, remember, you can always rewatch this video on YouTube. Finish whatever you didn't. And that's why you guys have all of the rest of the day after lunch to work on this. So if you don't finish it right now, that doesn't mean, oh, okay, I didn't finish it in ELA, I'm done for the day. No. You guys are still in the online independent study program, which means that any work that you don't finish, you need to work independently. You got to get it done. I'm going to give you guys 30 more seconds to work on this, and then we're going to go over the next page. Okay, let's move on. So for the next one, it's going to be on the story Teamwork to the Top, which you guys are going to read independently. And then for your answers, if you guys need help or if you want to check your work, you'll go to CRC Answers. You'll scroll all the way down till you'll get to Unit 6, Week 2 or 3. Right here, Teamwork to the Top. So here are your answers to page 183 of your CRC, page 184 of your CRC, page 185 for your CRC. And then here is your integrate, if it will load. Uh-oh. There you go. And then here's your integrate answers. So again, this you need to work on independently. So when it turns 12 o'clock, after you do your read theory, after you read your 20 minutes for the day, after you work on some online resources, you are going to make sure you complete your CRC pages. including the ones that you may not have completed in class. So like Kendall, because you were late, you didn't do the first 2 pages of your CRC. So you need to do those independently today. All right, guys. Just as a reminder, before we move on to our your turn, Kendall, Juels, Dimitri, Jason, and Daniel. All of you guys are here right now. Kendall, Juels, Dimitri, Jason, and Daniel. All of you guys, all 5 of you need to come back at 12 o'clock. All 5 of you need to come back at 12 o'clock to work on missing work. All right, let's go ahead. And now we're going to move on to our your turn. So everybody get out your turn workbook. If you want to use Kami, you would go to classwork, scroll to ELA and click on your turn workbook pages. If you want to use your turn book, just get that out and turn to page 277 and 288. We're working on page 277 to 278. Page 277 to 278. Go ahead, guys. I'm going to give you guys 1 more minute to get there. All right, a baby mammoth. A reindeer herder in Russia found a baby mammoth's body. She was moved to a museum. Scientists from around the world studied the baby. She was sent to Japan for tests. Scientists tried to learn all that they could. So here's a picture, an illustration of the baby mammoth. The baby mammoth was discovered in Russia on the Yamal Peninsula. And it shows you where the baby mammoth was discovered. And remember, this is a baby mammoth from a long time ago. So it was like, maybe it was frozen underground. Maybe it was like the bones of the baby mammoth, but it's basically like they found the remains. They found a baby mammoth from long time ago, and they're learning about it now. Okay, now, how do you know that this is expository text? What makes a story expository text? Can anyone unmute and tell me? How do you know that this is an expository text?
Because in real life, you could find a frozen or bones of baby mammoth, and then they could study them.
Very good, Angelica. Yes, it gives us real information or true information, real facts and real information. Very good. Okay, number 2. How did the people work as a team when the baby mammoth was discovered? Let me reread and then I'll ask one of you. So how did people work together when the mammoth was found? A reindeer herder in Russia found a baby mammoth's body. The baby mammoth was moved to a museum. Scientists from around the world studied the baby. The baby mammoth was sent to Japan for tests. Scientists tried to learn all that they could. So how did people work together when the baby mammoth was discovered? What did these scientists do when they learned about the baby mammoth?
They moved it to a museum.
They moved her to a museum, and then she was even sent to Japan to what? So that what did the scientists do?
So they could test it.
They can test and study it so that they can learn more about mammoths. Very good. So how do people work as a team when the baby mammoth was discovered?
They worked as a team to get it to the museum and to Japan to run tests on it.
Yes. So if you want to write a complete sentence, you could say scientists from all over, they let scientists from everywhere study the mammoth. All over, people were able to study her. People were able to study her. It wasn't just, oh, you have to be from Russia to learn about this baby mammoth. Sometimes people are like that. Like, how many times have you guys, maybe you're playing a game and your little sibling or your cousin or your friend doesn't want to share with you. They're like, well, this is mine. My parents bought me the slime, so I don't want to have to share with you. It's mine. But these people were saying, well, even though it was found in Russia, anybody can study it. Even people all the way in Japan will send you the baby mammoth so you can study the baby mammoth too. They were sharing with people from all over. Even though it was found in Russia, they let all these other people learn about the baby mammoth from all other parts of the world. Now, what information can you learn from the map? What do we learn from this picture? What did you learn from this picture just by looking at this picture? Come on, there are 12 of you in class. Jason, Abigail, Angelica, Ava, Daniel, Dimitri, Ella, Matthew, Mandy, Nicholas, Russell. Say that one more time.
Where the mammoth was moved.
Very good. Where the mammoth was found. So the mammoth was found right here in Russia. And the reason why I'm not writing capital letters or periods is because I'm not writing complete sentences. So if you want to write complete sentences, you're more than welcome to if you're a fluent writer. All right, I'm going to move on to the next page. So if you need more time, you can always watch this on YouTube and pause it. The answers are also in the chat. Okay, vocabulary strategy, Greek and Latin roots. You can figure out the meaning of unfamiliar words by looking for root words. Some English words have Greek or Latin roots. So like cred means to believe, like if you have credit or it's some information is credible. I mean, cred in Latin or Greek means to believe. Spect means to look, like if you're a spectator at a sport, you're watching the game, you're looking at the game, or some people call their glasses spectacles because it's something that you can look through. We've got duck, which means to lead. I'm trying to think of a word with duck. Induction. Or you could say Duke, like educated.
Miss Park, your screen's black.
Okay, sorry. Or you could think of like educate, reduce, produce, product. Those are all informations that all words that use the word DUC. If you're producing something, you're leading something into making something else. We have STA, which can mean to stand. Like you can think of like a station. A station is there to stand. It stands up and it's there, it's built so that you can do things in that area. Port means to carry. If you guys ever like go to a seaport, a lot of seaports, they'll carry in all of these ships that have cargo from around the world. And then struct means to build, like a structure, or to construct. You're building like a building. So read each sentence, circle the root word in each bold print word, then write a definition for the word. So here we have incredible. What Greek or Latin root word do you see in incredible?
Cred.
Cred, very good. So instead of writing the definition, we're just going to talk about it, but we're gonna write the CRED. And then we're just going to rewrite what it means. So if something is incredible, it means it's hard to believe. That is incredible. I can't believe it. So for example, like if you see, I don't know, let's see that you've been working really hard to work on a cartwheel. And then you finally get your cartwheel, you might say, wow, that was incredible. That's hard. Like, I can't believe you actually did it. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's like so hard to believe because it, took a really long time. One of the first jobs is to set up a research station or base camp. What is the Greek or Latin root in station?
Stay.
Very good. Stay. STA. And then what does stay mean?
To stand.
To stand. So one of the first jobs is to set up a research station. So a station is something that you set up. It stands. It's like a building. So like a research station is like a building. It's like a base camp where it stands up, you build something, it stands to become a place where you can do research. Some team members construct the camp's buildings. What is the root or Latin Greek word? The Greek or Latin root word in construct?
Struct.
Struct, very good. And what does struct mean?
To build.
To build, very good. So if you're constructing something, you're building something. Okay, 2 more. So it looks like you guys are not going to have time to do your 5 things. So your 5 things are going to have to be something you do during your asynchronous time. So after lunch, you're not done for the day, guys. You have to work on your asynchronous work. Okay. Number 4, they transport people and equipment to the camp. What is the Greek or Latin root word in transport?
Port.
Port. Very good, Ava. And then what does port mean?
To carry.
Very good. So if you transport something, they transport the people. So they carry the people to the camp. They transport the equipment. They carry the equipment from one place to another. And then the last one, some people inspect the camp's electricity system to make sure it is working. Spect. And what does the word spect mean?
To look.
Very good. So if people are inspecting something, they're looking. So for example, if I am inspecting your work, I am looking to see if you got your writing completed. If I say, okay, guys, I'm going to be inspecting your writing test. I'm going to be looking at your writing test to make sure that you guys did it correctly. All right, guys, it is almost 9:55. So this is what you need to do. You need to finish up this page. If you don't finish it, you need to do it asynchronously. After lunch, you are not done with school. Not only do you need to work on your CRC and read the story that we did not read in class, but you also need to work on your 5 things because we did not have time to work on your 5 things. You need to work on your practice spelling, practice vocabulary, grammar, mechanics, and your selfie writing. Okay. We all need to come back at 10:15 because we are going to be reviewing for 3rd grade math again at 10:15. And then anyone with missing work after math, you will need to stay. So all 5 of you that I've asked earlier, you need to stay after math to get your missing work done. And then you need to come back at 12 o'clock to get your missing work done. Any work you don't get completed at 12, you need to come back at 12:45. If you have no missing work, but you're working on these things. So these are considered, I guess, missing work, but you can work on them asynchronously. However, if you have questions, if you're filling out your CRC or you're filling out your turn or you're doing your 5 things and you have a question, then you are going to log back into Zoom at 12 or 12:45 so that you can ask. If it's sometime later in the day, maybe you're working on your 5 things at like 2:45. Then you can message me in Google Classroom and then I will help answer whatever questions you guys have. All right. All right, guys, unless you have any questions or unless you're finishing up your turn, I will see you guys at 10:15. So in about 20 minutes.
Bye.